So we're going to start with 4 cups of unbleached flour in a food processor. And we're going to add a half a cup of sugar to that.
Let me get your other things.
Okay, and I want a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in there, so that goes in. And then we need to add...
Take the baking powder again.
We need to add baking powder, which is 1½ tablespoons of that. And I noticed that you got the vegetable shortening out for me. All right, so now in goes... I need that spoon,
yeah. Take one of those little spoons.
In goes the vegetable shortening, cut up in smaller pieces because that's going to pulse a lot easier. And we get that in. And then if you could just beat up that egg for me. I need that egg. You could put it right in there with the milk.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, put it right in there with the milk. So now we want to add our wet ingredients. So we have 1 egg, half a cup of milk, and how about some vanilla? So we want about a tablespoon. I like vanilla, so just put in as much as you want.
Throw it in.
All right, so now we have this. So that's, put that in.
It goes in?
Yeah,
Great.
that goes in. And this is a dough that you have to chill for about an hour.
Oh, here's my other favorite thing to do with this.
Let me get that blade out.
Dump it out and then take the blade.
Okay, now we need that again because you're going to make your dough in here.
This is perfect, Marianne.
Well, it should be.
Look at that.
So what we want to do is now wrap this into some plastic wrap. And I'm going to have you make the filling for me.
I'm going to do that right here.
Yes, while I roll out the dough because I've got some dough that's chilling.
So do we want to tell everybody what's in this first?
Yes, we do.
Dried figs, make sure you take off the stems, right?
Yes.
They're like little nails.
And these are dried figs that we soaked first.
Right, want to show everybody cutting that up? Here's some dates, too.
Yeah, here we have figs.
You know, I think I always laugh when I buy a box of pitted dates because you know darn well you're going to find a pit in there.
Right, so you're right.
Raisins,
okay, so
cinnamon.
make sure the raisins are soaked as well.
Almonds.
A tablespoon of cinnamon.
May I have a little teaspoon there, please?
Yes, you may. There you go.
Orange marmalade, right?
Half a cup of orange marmalade.
And does it matter if it's sweet or bitter? I guess you use sweet for this,
we use
right?
sweet here, yes, okay. And then
the honey.
Half a cup of honey. So I think you can see some of the Sicilian elements in the filling, correct?
And no cloves, huh?
No, we use cinnamon. I'm going to get the dough. Well, here's what I've done. I've put the dough on a piece of floured parchment. Get that little piece of... How are we doing there?
A little bit, needs to be a little bit finer.
Yes. And you can actually make that part ahead of time. Put it in the refrigerator. Put it in the refrigerator. You can do it several days ahead of time. You can do it a week ahead of time. Okay, so now...
You know, it looks a little bit like France.
It does, doesn't it? But it's really Italy. So we're going to cut off that and trim this down. I'm just going to eyeball this because I'm that kind of a baker, Nick.
Now, are you going to make each shape out of this one piece of dough?
Well, I think we can show them the different shapes that they come into.
Let's get a pan to put them on.
Okay, so here's what I do. I just kind of eyeball this, and I cut these.
That looks good.
Just like that. Now, we want to fill them. And actually, we can fill them right on here. Then I can roll them up. So
these look good for those ones where the four corners are drawn up.
Yeah, okay, let's do one like that with the 4 corners. Why don't you do that first?
Here we go.
Okay, so put some on there.
Is that enough?
Well, you want to, put a nice amount in the middle there. And this is, okay, that's enough. And then what you want to do is pick this up and just bring, this is how I remember it being done, bring these corners up. They just come to the center, like so. Like you're making a little...
Kind of like a Danish.
A little pocketbook.
A Sicilian Danish.
A little pocketbook. Let me get that corner up. The dough's getting a little soft on me here.
Uh-huh. Looks good, though.
Yeah. Little. Okay, there. We have our little package. So we put that up. All right, now we can show the next version, which is the crescent shape. Let me get that. Put some on there.
In the middle, too?
Put it right down the center. Down the center.
Oh, you mean in a line?
In a line, down the center.
Okay.
You remember this? Not too much.
Easy, I do mine. That looks like too much.
Too much, yeah. Too much. Take a little bit off. Otherwise, it's going to all squeeze out the sides. Okay, that's good.
Abbondanza, Marianne.
Then just a little bit of water at the edge there. Then I lift this up and just gently fold it over like that. Pinch those edges close. You want to make sure, as I'm not telling you anything you don't know, that that is sealed well. Just like that. Make sure those edges are
close
cold.
the edges on
And
mine.
then you make a little crescent like that.
Right.
Then you take a little knife and you just put a couple little slits. 20, 25 minutes.
And you seal them with a little bit of
a
water.
little bit of water. So we have some that are cooled. So here they are. And I'm going to have you help me make the glaze.
Sure.
So here we have some
These look
confectioner
beautiful,
sugar.
Marianne.
Confectioner sugar.
Now we're going to put them directly on the rack before.
Yeah. Here's some cream or milk. So we're going to put that in.
Why don't you scoot over a tiny bit so I can put this here. I'll put these on the rack.
And we need hundreds and thousands.
Ah.
So.
In Italian, they're called diavoletti, little devils.
Little devils.
Are we going to put that on with a brush or a spoon?
We're going to put this on with a spoon. That's what I always do.
You have one there?
Well, you have one somewhere there. Why don't you
one there, which I'm going to wipe
that one off?
It only had.
Okay, so that's about right, I would say. What do you think?
Good. I think that looks great.
Whoops. Okay, now we take this. Go ahead. And just, you do that, I'll do the sprinkles. I like to do this when they're still warm because then why don't you move over a little bit so we can
Yeah, you know what happens
together.
when it's warm?
Then it drizzles all over.
Right, it'll drizzle down a little bit.
Oh,
I think
you
it's
like a
tiny
lot
bit
of frosting.
Thick,
Yeah,
Marianne.
okay, go ahead. Put a little bit more in.
A bit more in.
That's that wonderful fig, raisin, date, honey, and spice-filled cookie that is so typical from home.